You must think first, right? Before you move.
Hi. I goofed. Editor Raymond here. I messed up Jacob's intro, so now here I am having to redo that intro. This video we're doing here is a 3v3 combat. Jacob and I are going to pick teams, 3 characters each. We're going to go back and forth between who gets to be the heroes or the villains. This week, Jacob got to be the heroes, I got to be the villains. Any characters we want, as long as the categories match up, like humans, metahumans, aliens, that sort of thing. We're going to be doing this on a criteria of 5 different things. We got long range attack, short range attack, stamina, strategy, and group dynamic. So, with that, let's get back to the video.
So Raymond, who are your 3 people?
My 3 people were Red Hood, Kraven the Hunter, and Hutch from Jupiter's Legacy.
My 3 people are The Question, Punisher, and Steel. So, with that said, I guess Magneto is leaving the pod.
Nope,
so
he's gone.
Yeah. So the first one, I'm going to go through the categories of the question. So long range attack. Yeah, Question really has none. If he had a gun and he could use it, that would be the extent of his long range attack. Other than that, no real skill. Short range attack, kind of similar. He can probably fight and beat up like a entry-level goon or street level, but he's
Regular
not
person for sure.
trained in any martial arts or weaponry or whatever. Stamina, I'm breaking this down in 2 parts. One is physicality and one is mentality. Physically, I would say he's like an average person. The mask may impede his breathing a little bit, so might even be less than average person. But his mentality, though, is like a machine. If he locks in on a conspiracy, he's like, I'm gonna move heaven and earth to get to the evidence, to the truth. So he's extremely disciplined when it comes to his pursuit of the truth with conspiracies. Strategy, this is, I think, his strongest skill set and what he can contribute to the team. So he can come up with like dossiers or profiles of his opponents. And I think, Raymond, you said Red Hood is one of your team members. Yeah. So, I think the question come up with like psychological profile and like triggers or insights to throw him off his game. So he'll like say, hey, Punisher, hey, Steel, say this or do this against Red Hood. And then lastly, group dynamic. I think the question, he's a team player, but he's an acquired taste. You take him in small doses. He's a loner in the sense that he'll investigate a conspiracy, but then once someone asks about it or he thinks that that topic's being brought up, he will, a flood of information, he'll just talk your ear off. I think that maybe like with the Punisher, it would be some conflict, less so with Steel, but he does know how to be a team player, and he's in the Justice League, so he works with aliens and superhumans and cosmic entities, so he can get along with folks. So that's the question.
Red Hood, his long-range weapon, the one he uses the most is a Zastava M93 Black Arrow, Serbian-made bolt-action 50 B&G anti-material rifle up to 1,800 meters. He learned at the beginning of his career, he learned the basics from Batman, specifically for forensic investigation. So obviously Batman wasn't teaching him how to shoot, but him learning, the way bullet trajectories work and, how the wind can take bullets, whatever the case may be, he learned all that from Batman, and that helped him kind of go forward. And after his resurrection, spoiler alert, he dies, he perfected his marksmanship by traveling the world, training with mercenaries, assassins, and killers. And they highlighted this specifically when I was doing some research, that he mirrored Batman's training. So that, I think, really, really kind of highlights, who the Red Hood is. His short range, combat knives, dual pistols, pretty basic, nothing overly crazy about that, but he's very proficient with them. Stamina, peak human stamina, right? He trained with Batman, mirrored Batman's training when he went around the world. So I think there's really no other result in that. I wouldn't put him on the level with Batman, obviously, but I would say maybe 2 or 3 levels down from that. So he's not a lazy motherfucker at all. And strategy. So here's where I think Red Hood's weakness kind of comes in, because he definitely has a high strategic mind, I would say. But in that, sometimes he's way too brutal, and sometimes he's way too emotional. And I think that's when his plans fall apart, when he starts to not overthink it, but when he starts to just, lose his mind, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
And then, what about the group dynamic? How do you think
the group dynamic? I was going to do that at the end, but I think his group dynamic is pretty good I would say mostly because it's weird because I say he's a team player, which he can be. He's worked with teams before, but I would say that's if he likes you. So if for whatever
Okay.
reason he ended up not liking Kraven or Hutch, then I don't think it would go very well. But Red Hood's definitely a friend of my, or an enemy of my enemy is my friend type of person, right? So if he was hunting somebody down who also had beef with Kraven and Hutch, I don't think it would be a second thought for him to join up and take whatever or whoever it is out.
Next, Punisher. So go through the categories again. Long range attack goes without saying. I mean, ex-military, Marine, Spec Ops. He knows all sorts of weapons, firearms, rockets, etc. So he can hit you from afar. Short range, again, ex-military. So he knows hand-to-hand combat. He knows how to use knives and other types of slashing instruments. He also knows how to kind of like trap people. So he can set up some type of trap that will keep person in place, and then he can do whatever he wants. He's very much hands-on. That's, I think, where he enjoys his justice.
Yeah,
Not from
I would
afar.
agree with that. I would agree with that.
Looking them in the eye. A stamina, again, much, much higher than the average human because of his military training. So I would say that he's maybe not peak, but he's much, much higher than average.
Yeah, if not peak, I mean, I think as close as you could get in reality. You know,
I think maybe he could be peak with his own training regimen. So he was, he came out of the Marines and whatnot, and then he said, okay, I'm going to take it to the next level. So probably, above that. Strategy. So he's a very good strategist. He can infiltrate mob bosses' mansions, right? And hit them. Like, how can one person do that? Also, like in any place that he lives, a city or otherwise, he has safe houses and arsenals of weapons and caches of ammunition everywhere. So anywhere he is, he can get access to the weapons he needs to get the job done. And he's a self-sustaining micro economy himself because he'll take the funds, the money from the criminals he kills, and then he'll use that to get the resources that he needs to fight the next guy. Group dynamic, I would say he's kind of similar to your analysis of Red Hood. He has worked with other people, other allies in teams. He's kind of a loner, anti-hero as well. But if he believes that you are in line with his mission, we want to take out this criminal, this person. Yes, I'll work with you and we'll do it together. And the biggest thing is he will pull the trigger.
Mhm.
So if no one else on the team wants to cross that line, he's crossed it a million times over.
Absolutely.
So it'll be definitive with him.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's the Punisher.
So Kraven the Hunter, not really anything wild with his long range weapon, compound crossbow. Couldn't find any more specifics, but what's special, I guess, about it is that he uses kind of custom arrows. Most of them, not most, but some of them are explosive, crank tipped. Think Green Arrow, kind of variety bag. Excuse me. I would compare it to that. Obviously, not as much skill. It's a crossbow, but the short range weapon, this is kind of where he kind of gets a little bit more variety in his arsenal. He's got dual hunting knives. This is his primary way to do close combat. Nerve punches, this one I actually thought was pretty damn dope. Signature unarmed technique capable of paralyzing strong opponents like Spider-Man. That would be terrifying to get hit like that in real life and just be paralyzed for a second. I wouldn't know what the hell to do.
I immediately think of Spock, the Vulcan grip, I think.
Yeah. I was thinking of
pinching
there's a video, I can't remember, but this like dude knife, like the guy didn't believe he could do it.
I know what you're talking about.
And he passed out. I was like, holy shit. That'd be embarrassing. But his third and final sort of weapons of choice in his arsenal are a spear and a whip, which I've actually never personally seen him use, but apparently he does. Mostly it's used to maintain an advantage while keeping foes at a close to medium range. So I don't think he's going to kill you with the whip, but he's definitely going to use it to kind of keep you within his range, and his stamina. He not obviously, but he uses a like a potion herb kind of thing to give him more strength, stamina, and become, superhuman. So I would say his stamina is better than peak human conditioning. There was I'll put it in post. There was a storyline where he actually fought for, I think it was 24 or 48 hours or something like that. So he's definitely not gonna run out of gas, in the middle of a fight. Strategy, this I think he might be the best strategist on my team, hands down. And he's basically, his whole entire thing is setting traps for animals, using his environment, everything like that. So if he is somewhere, you can be assured that he has already kind of scoped out what he can do and how he can use everything. So I think he's probably my best strategist. And for group dynamic, I think Kraven is probably the most likely to be the leader of my group. He really, I would say, similar to Red Hood, similar to the character you said, where he is very much, if we're on the same side, I don't care. We're going to do this. And there's really no stopping him. I would compare him to a zombie in the sense that unless you cut his legs off or kill him, he will keep going and he will not stop, because his whole thing is to be the best, fighter, the best predator, which actually he becomes part of the Yautja clan. I'll put it in here too. I can't remember if it's a Predator comic book or if it's a Marvel comic book that the Predators come into. Yeah, but basically he hunts with the Predators. It's pretty dope.
That's wild.
And they accept him into his clan and everything. So it's cool. And yeah, the group dynamic. So I think Kraven might be my overall strongest character. So
okay. Then my third and last team member, Steel. So a long range attack. So Steel, he has his power suit, right? So he can fly, and then he has that huge sledgehammer that he can throw. But in later iterations of his character design, the sledgehammer is autonomous. It can like target things and again throw, and then like
come back to him.
Throw back, so he can throw it again and again. So he has some long range attack capabilities. And then with short range, I mean, it's like that's obvious because the power suit gives him enhanced strength. It gives him resilience to physical attacks. Again, he can fly and hit you with the sledgehammer. So hand to hand, he's pretty strong. And, he fashions himself after Superman. So the power suit is definitely not, equal to Superman's strength.
Right.
Nothing really would be that he could come up with, but it's up there. So he's like battling with superhumans and like, alien type of opponents. So
absolutely.
The power suit is OP against humans. Stamina,
my God, against humans, yeah. That's not even remotely fair.
Yeah, well, I would say this: like, if he gets his hands on you or hits you with the sledgehammer, but like his power suit is like steel, so I don't know. It would be vulnerable to like high caliber attacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like he can get hurt if you hit him in his your cross sights. But stamina, John Henry Irons himself, he is at peak human conditioning, the strength and endurance and all that, and then the power suit just amplifies that. I don't know, because I couldn't find a definitive answer. What powers his power suit, the source of energy, and then how long it lasts and how to replenish it. So I'm like, well, that could be a weakness. If somehow his energy goes down, then it's like just a dude in this big power suit that doesn't do anything, and then what, So
absolutely.
Yeah. Strategy wise, he's a weapons engineer, a genius level weapons engineer. So I think he can come up with customized weapons against opponents. So him and Question, we get together, say, okay, here are our opponents, here are their weaknesses and strengths. All right, I'm going to design a plasma ray gun that will, break down the DNA of this guy versus that guy. So I think that from a strategic standpoint, he can come up with some weapons that are like the weaknesses of his opponents, not just some, gun. And then group dynamic, obviously, I mean, he's in the Justice League, and so Batman really valued him for his intellect more than his fighting capability. And then Superman also respects Steel. He works with people. He has a sense of justice and virtue and integrity and all that. But unlike the Punisher, I think he has limits. So he would say, hey, Punisher, don't kill. They would have some conflict there. Or the Punisher's like, no, I'm this dude's dead. So he works on the team, but I think he would have like some internal arguments.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, you put Punisher on the team, he's going to argue with everybody other than Red Hood, I think.
Red Hood, yeah. Or Kraven, because Kraven does kill.
Right.
Like certain targets.
That's what I'm saying, though. I don't think they would get along because, Kraven don't give a damn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He literally only wants to, like, hunt and kill. He doesn't, I forget maybe it was the Spider-Man, the Insomnia two. Anyway, Kraven don't give a damn about nothing other than fighting. My third guy, Hutch from Jupiter's Legacy. So he's a weird one. His long range weapon, his only weapon is his power rod. I'll just kind of go through the functions rather than breaking it down the list because it's all kind of weird. The function, though, it allows Hutch to teleport himself and others over vast distances simply by naming the location. So, I mean, automatically, that's pretty OP. Capability, in addition to teleportation, the device can project energy blasts. I couldn't find how long the range was, so I kind of put it into the short to medium range. It was created by his father, Skyfox, who was a super genius superhero, and it was basically to compensate for him not being born with any superpowers like his friends and siblings and all that. The mechanism is based on Blue Bolt, another character, I'll put it right here, original power rod, and requires verbal commands. So anything he says, the thing can do. So, I mean, again, unless you rip off his mouth, he can basically do whatever he wants with it. The limitations, though, it doesn't work against the Utopian, which doesn't matter in this situation, but I would put Utopian and Superman kind of, in the same bubble. And if the rod is held by someone with superhuman strength, it cannot return to Hutch, even commanded. So while the power rod is a little bit OP, it has its limitations and weaknesses, right? And I think for stamina, unfortunately for me, he's a regular dude. And by regular dude, I mean like literally a regular dude who works at UPS, right? He drinks all the time. I think he smokes cigarettes, not even the fun stuff. So he's not in any way, shape, or form a,
specimen.
Peak specimen or even half peak, right? He's probably sitting at a low, 2 out of 10 in terms of stamina scale. But his power rod definitely makes up for a lot of that. And then his strategy, he's not an idiot, but I don't think he's a strategic genius. I think he's the least strategic on my team. But I also think that kind of works for him because he's not going to try to want to be the leader. He's not going to try to want to, take over and kind of, lead the charge.
Very much go with the flow.
I think he actually works well with the group dynamic because he will just kind of be like, all right, whatever we got to do to get this done, I'm on board. Let's do it. So I think the team overall kind of works pretty well together, even though Hutch, I would say, is the weakest, maybe overall character. That power rod definitely does a lot of heavy lifting for him.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. So we went through each of our teams and the categories. So now, audience, please, give us your comments, who you think, if we were off track, if we were crazy, if we were right on the money. We're not going to really say who wins. We just kind of want to put our arguments out there of like the, strengths, weaknesses, pros and cons, whatever, and then see what people think. Who would win in these on the battlefield? So with that said,
and if there's enough comments saying who wins, maybe we'll post in that's who wins. So
yeah,
comment what you think.
And actually, if there's something that we say that is just straight up wrong or let's say inaccurate, let us know and your source, because also what we'll do is we'll refine our analysis with our next month with our characters. If there's certain websites or information or databases that has a lot of good information, because we're looking online and sometimes you can't trust everything the internet says. So I think that's about it, Raymond. Unless you have any other comments,
let us know who you guys think won. Give us other ideas for categories for these combat analysis.
Cool. All right then. All right. See you next time.